It's probably the easiest question anyone's ever been asked. Do you want to change the world? Yeah, okay. Texas A&M Professor Michael Boucher believes we all have the opportunity, and as long as you're changing the world anyway, let a kid see you do it. Welcome to BexarCast. I'm Randy Langford, and this is BexarCast, a weekly interview with business, political, education, and nonprofit leaders. We're examining the relationships between all four and how each one benefits from the success of the other three. Michael Boucher is an assistant professor of curriculum and instruction at Texas A&M University in San Antonio. He received his PhD in curriculum and instruction from Indiana University and is an expert in school curriculum, instruction, both online and face-to-face, and teacher engagement with communities. His studies have been published in Urban Education, the Urban Review, and Action in Teacher Education. Dr. Boucher, thanks for joining me. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much.
I'm delighted to have you, especially at this moment when teachers and students are having a lot of conversations about how they're going to go forward. How are teachers going to teach and how are students going to learn? And I'm sure there are lots of parents and students who are especially interested in your thoughts on college and career readiness because that field is changing. So let me just get right to it. How is the pandemic changing how students prepare for college and careers?
It's really made a huge impact on it. As a teacher educator, we are working with teachers to future teachers to navigate the new way that students have to be taught by social distancing, right? So we really have not exactly figured out what's going to happen once school begins in the fall. There's a discussion about social distancing. There's a discussion about online components. How much online? Some people are talking about having half the school go one day, really at this moment, sorry, let me finish my thought, is that half the school goes one day, half the school goes the second day, but all of them have to be doing online stuff at the same time. So teachers have really had to build their capacity of being able to deliver instruction online, and it changes the way that we instruct people. So that's one piece. So the other thing is that it also changes the way that people have to learn. So learning is going to have to be a lot more self-directed, truthfully. It's going to have to be that, people are going to have to, young people and even little kids, like 6 years old, are going to have to take a lot more responsibility for their own learning in this new environment. There's literally no hand holding in any way, shape, or form, right?
And it doesn't get much more literal, right?
Right, yeah. There's a lot of care. The teachers care so much, and I've been reading story after story about teachers working with students. And when we're talking about college and career readiness, working with students who are 17 and graduating and trying to get letters of recommendation and trying to get everything ready. But then on top of that, right, is that the colleges are also shut down. So the question then becomes, all right, so I have worked really hard for 12 years or 13 years, and I am now getting ready to go to college, but my college is only online, and they have decisions to make about, where they want to go to college and how they want to go to college. And I think it's really causing young people to think about, what do I want out of college and what do I want out of life, right? I think it's made it so that it's not just an assumption. We're not just going to go to college, and it's really, people are really evaluating what they want, and so I think that's really great. But so everybody's working hard, everybody's doing the best they can, everybody's answering the questions as best they can.
Right.
But it's just such an uncertain time that no one's got the answer. There's no right answer. Also, on top of that, even if somebody did say they had the right answer, for every individual is going to have a different answer.
Right. So as the landscape changes dramatically, I know when I was in high school, when I was in school, that the outside the classroom aspect was very appealing to me because I'm not good at sitting at a desk and absorbing a lecture. I'm more of a hands-on kind of guy. Let me get out there and experience it. Is that outside the classroom learning becoming more important for students and for teachers?
Yeah, so as we, the teachers that we train at the College of Education, we talk about that exact kind of thing you're talking about. We call it authentic pedagogy. Authentic
I didn't know it
means,
had a name.
yeah, it does. Yeah, it's been around for a while under that name. The idea has been around for ever, right, since human history. But the context here is that people, kids in schools should do things that professionals do out in the field. Right. So, for example, teachers who are teaching science should have kids do science, not just learn about doing science, but do science. Teachers who are teaching history should have kids do history. They should do, interviews with people who have been, who have done things in history. With veterans, for example. They should do investigation of documents and find new things, especially here in San Antonio. I mean, it's a 300-year-old city, but before that, it was a thousands-of-year-old city, right?
Right.
And so there's so much history here that kids can become historians in their own right. And same with math, solving real-world problems. Same with English, writing novels, writing things for the internet, things like that. All those things are called authentic pedagogy. And so when you're talking about these kind of apprenticeships, where kids bring all those skills together that they have learned in school and they apply them in these kind of experiences. For one thing, I'm going to use my hands here, their learning goes way up like this. The community gets their experiences as young people, which is so important to bring new ideas in. And so the entire community all benefits from kids getting out there in the world, doing real world things, using the ideas and the things they've learned in school and applying them in new ways.
And you're right on track. You led directly into my next question. And one of the goals of BearFest is to give students real-world media production experience.
Mm-hmm.
We send them into a nonprofit, and we take our hands off. This is your project. You work
Right.
on this. I'm not going to do it for you, and good luck.
Mm-hmm.
But we want to give them that real experience where they learn to allocate resources, communicate, deal with a client, schedule their time.
Yeah, all those things. You're speaking my language for all that.
Yeah.
It's so important. Yeah.
And is that real world experience different? Is it different learning that in the field in a real situation rather than just hearing it in a classroom?
Oh, absolutely. No question. I mean, we can do a budget at school, we can give them a worksheet of a budget, we can say, hey, you have 8 hours in a day. What should you be doing? And, there is a certain amount of practice and that's important to learn how to do it. But the fact is, as we all know, adulting is a complicated process and not everybody does it on their same timeline, right?
Right.
And so giving kids the ability to make real decisions about real things with their real time, with their real resources, and actually spending real money doing real things, and then they'll have a real impact. That just sends their learning, through the roof.
Right.
And so it's just the best way to go.
And it seems to me, and I'm no expert, but it seems to me like when I was in school and they were trying to teach me algebra, good luck with that. And I just didn't, in the old saying, I just didn't see how I'm going to use this in real life. I don't see where this is going to apply. But if you're out there in the field and you are scheduling your time because you have to be somewhere,
Yep.
Okay, now there's a real world application. Now I get it.
And the thing is, right, is that when we're talking about media production, we are talking about a lot of algebra, right? Because,
Right.
as you know, I mean, maybe we don't call it algebra, but the fact is that you have lots of different factors, right? You've got sound, you've got light, you've got motion, you've got editing, you've got all these different things. And so mathematically, you end up putting together things mathematically a lot of times, right? And
Sure.
so there may not be a particular formula, like one formula for a cone or whatever that you're using in media production, but you're using mathematical concepts. Once that post-production thing is going on, there's
Right.
a lot of mathematical concepts in it. And that's just one example, right? So when we're talking about humanities, right, you need to be able to understand how things should be framed and what's the most effective way to light, which is physics. And so, and of course, then there's the language part of it is,
Sure.
a lot of writing, a lot of editing and revising. So yeah, it just brings all their learning together, and all those things are just really important.
Another element of what we're doing at BearFest is the kids are essentially getting some job training.
Mm-hmm.
They're using tools and techniques that are applicable in any career, not just media production, but all those soft skills we were talking about. You're going to use those no matter what field you go into.
Mm-hmm.
We found a lot of students that we deal with go into the festival thinking, yeah, it'd be fun to play with a video and fool around with that, but I'm never going to use it. I'm not going to be a filmmaker. I'm not going to be a photographer. I'm not going to be an editor. My goal is I'm going to be a lawyer.
Right.
That's my plan.
Mm-hmm.
What's the value of I'm a big advocate of the smorgasbord. Maybe you won't like asparagus, but try it.
Yeah.
Take a bite. What's the value of exposing students to an array of career opportunities like that? Is it just process of elimination? Okay, I tried it, didn't like it. Now I know better.
Well, I think that's true. I mean, obviously, yeah, some people will be like, well, I'm not a guy who likes being in front of a camera, right? Or whatever. That could be you, not you, but, somebody, but it could be, but those skills of communication, right, are needed in no matter what career you go into. Those skills of media production, quite honestly, at least not necessarily being able to do them yourself, but at least being able to understand the process, right? Like, I'm a college professor and I teach teachers, and yet I'm involved in media production about every 6 months, because we are creating videos for the university that promote our new master's programs. We just created a video for our graduating seniors, right? Sure. And of course, we have websites that need to be updated and be attractive to people so that they know about the university and they don't look at it and go, oh, why would I want to go there? Their website looks terrible, right? So, I mean, all these things, I was never trained in media production, and yet I'm involved in media production all the time. That's just an example. And so, so we're talking about media production, but we're also talking about, the ability for students to come to a place and do a thing and be expected to do it, but have the responsibility that if it's going to get done, they do it. Right. Those are available. Those are important skills no matter what they decide to do.
One of the most exciting parts of the festival to me, one of the most rewarding parts, is when I see kids get involved with a nonprofit organization. They kind of go into it with kind of lighthearted, this will be fun, we get to play with the cameras, blah, blah, blah. Then they meet the people that they're going to be working with, and they begin to understand the mission, and that there are real people with real issues relying on them. And it's just marvelous to me to see the way the kids step up. Yeah, when they find out this is a problem, let me add it. There are veterans who don't have a place to live. No, I'm not going to
can't let that happen. Right.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. That's just wonderful to me.
It is, and it's when I taught high school for 18 years and high school and middle school for 18 years. So whenever we had the opportunity to send kids out to do that kind of stuff, you saw them to not just grow up, so to speak, but to really take on a passion of their learning, but also to say, we need to fix this problem. This is a thing that must be done, right? Yep. The passion that young people bring to projects is one of the most amazing things, the things that I love working with high school kids and as well as college kids, but I'm a teacher at heart. So the thing I love so much about teenagers is their passion, the things that they want to, when they see something, they want to fix it and bring it as much as possible. Right. But also is that just your average person doesn't necessarily know what is going on in every aspect of life. Sure. Right? I mean, you just only have so much attention. So the ability for students to go to a place where they can learn about a whole new world, that a whole new set of information, I guess is a better way of putting it, that where they've never even knew anything about at all. It's like opening a door to a room that they didn't even know existed, and yet it was right in their house. And so they can learn so much about the issues. And then on top of that, the jobs that you're discussing, and that the kids work with BexarCast, those are world changing opportunity careers, right? Those are
Absolutely.
world changing. And, who doesn't want to do that? Like when,
Yeah. Right.
I mean, I became a teacher because I wanted to change the world. And there's so many other people out there that are doing such amazing work. And so my students I keep up with on social media, and, my high school kids, and, they're in there now in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. That's how old I am. And, and they are out there, they're doing it. They are changing the world. They are lawyers. They are doctors. They run nonprofits. Some of them are administrators. Some of them are lawyers for nonprofits. Some of them are media people. I have a lot of my former students who are involved in acting and singing and work with nonprofits. I have several of them. I'm from Minnesota, so there's several of them working with Minnesota Public Radio, Minnesota TPT, which is the television station, public television. And so it's just so great to see all these kids working, that were kids, now they're adults.
Yeah, right.
Kids of their own, but they're world changers. They really are. Every day they go out there and make a difference. And
That's
it's
great.
just so amazing.
And to think you had even a small hand in that.
Even a little bit.
In
Yeah,
putting
I
them
don't
on
take
that
credit
path.
for their accomplishments, but
I'll take it.
I love watching it. It's just
Right.
amazing.
There's also the element of BexarCast, the team building.
Yes.
And I don't know, I'll let you speak to that, but we put the kids in a position where they have to rely on each other.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going to complete this by themselves. Somebody's going to be in charge. Somebody's going to do sound. Somebody's going to do lighting. Somebody's going to run the camera. And you're going to all have to work together to reach that end product. Where does that team building fit in with modern education theory and how you prepare for a career?
It just fits right in there. When we talk about the kind of work that we ask kids to do in the classroom, we ask them to do a lot of collaboration and communication. We ask them to take responsibility for their part of things.
Sure.
And to bring the group's goals to fruition in the best teaching, right? And it doesn't happen everywhere. It doesn't happen all the time. But in the very best teaching, that's what's going on. And that's the kind of thing that you're describing, because, the real world, although, the world is so big, it's hard to really say what's real and what's not sometimes. Right. But, when they leave the K-12 setting and when they leave the college setting, the almost every position that they would ever want to have involves collaboration and communication. And so, being a good team player with a task is just an absolutely crucial skill that all of us, adults and kids, need to have to be able to, for all of us to be successful in the future. And when you're talking about these kind of world-changing positions,
sure,
they are not done as one individual. They are done as a group. And so if you're going to make a difference in this world, you need to build those coalitions and work together.
Right. And learn. We put the kids in an awkward position deliberately. We set them up in front of a client, and this is the first time a lot of them have dealt with adults as adults.
Right.
In the past, it's always been parent, student, or parent, child, student, teacher,
Mm-hmm.
but now it's client, vendor. You have to sit across from somebody and express your opinion and give your ideas and make a plan. And it seems to me, again, I'm a layman, but it seems to me it's better to learn that lesson at 17
Mm-hmm.
than at 25. Is there any science behind that?
Absolutely. And again, we go back to authentic pedagogy. Authentic pedagogy asks students to do what's in the real world, but then also to be to have that work evaluated by experts in the field, right? And get feedback from experts in the field. But it also is a motivational section, right? We always talk about, how do we get kids motivated? How do we get kids motivated? How do we get,
sure.
And, there's lots of different theories and thoughts about that. But the real science right now says this: when humans, or even any mammals, but mostly humans, when they have a reason to do what they're doing, when they believe in what they're doing, and when they think what they're doing makes a difference, they are motivated to do everything to make it happen. Right. So so just as an example, right? Wikipedia, right? No one's making money off of Wikipedia. And
right.
Yet how many people are on it all the time, checking it, fact checking it, working it, including as soon as something big happens, immediately it's on with
Sure.
right? Those are volunteers. Why would they volunteer to do something they're not getting paid for that takes a lot of time and research and everything else, right? All those school skills are being applied right there for free. Why? Because to them, it matters and it makes a difference. So when you're talking about how to motivate kids, how to motivate people, how to do this, it's simple in a lot of ways. Hard to do, but a simple concept is to give them something real and give them a reason to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what BexarFest does.
Absolutely. And I want to go down that track a little bit more. When we get the kids engaged in the community, every team works with a nonprofit organization. This year we had 40 teams. So that's 40 schools working with 40 nonprofit organizations, and it all comes together in the end with a big premiere where we show all the videos. The kids get treated like celebrities. There's a red carpet, the check-in tables.
You guys do a great job. I've seen the videos. They're fantastic.
Well, thank you, but the purpose of that, and again, I'm so glad to have your expertise. The purpose of that is we want kids at one school. Just pick a school at random, ABC High School. I don't want to call anybody out. ABC High School. There's a kid at ABC High School that thinks I'm kind of a film nerd, but am I the only one? I guess I am, because I don't see others. Then you bring those 40 schools together, and that kid from ABC High School sees 39 other schools,
right,
with film nerds like him.
That's right.
How much of what value is that?
Huge. It's absolutely huge. I think that, I think during this COVID crisis, we have really seen the value of creative people, right? I mean, we always love them and we've given them lots of money, some of them, right? But, but we have our favorites or whatever. But I think we've really seen the way that creative people have stepped up to keep all of our spirits up, right? Like I really thought about this after, some of the TV shows, came back, with the casts and had, reunions and just like silly reunions, right? Or like, the good news thing on that the guy from The Office does, right? So, I mean, these are creative people who just come together to make us feel better about the situation that we're in, right? And so I just think that sometimes those kids who are like in these, who want to be in these things, but they don't see anybody else around them, I think that their ability to do it and to get the kind of positive feedback that you guys gives them this boost of self-esteem to think, not only is this cool and I really think I can do it, not just I want to do it, but I can do it. So my son is a photojournalist, and so he got a lot of those kind of good things when he was in school. He learned a lot about photography on his own. He just did it all by himself. Just went out there and just learned about it.
Right.
But eventually, he was able to do things like History Day, for example, where he made videos and for history. And he did a lot of other kind of projects where he created documentaries about local people. And he just did those things, but he did them in collaboration with other people. And then he got feedback from professionals. And so eventually he just continued with it because he had a passion for it. And now he's a photojournalist.
Nice. Yeah. It's great to see, especially your own child, be able to put that chain together, put those links together and build that chain and end up where they wanted to be. That's great.
Yep. Yeah, it's really great.
I want to go back a minute to the point of embedding students in nonprofit organizations.
Sure.
BexarFest takes weeks. We put the teams together in the fall and pair them up with their nonprofit around October. And then the premiere is not until February. So they work on their productions for months. And so the kids spend a lot of time in that nonprofit atmosphere, what I call a culture of caring. So
I like that. That's good.
they're engaged with these adults who are displaying this kind of compassion and empathy. And does that rub off? I'm of the opinion that everybody's a role model. You don't have a choice. Your only choice is whether you're a good one or not. But there are kids watching everything you do.
Yep.
So we're putting kids in that atmosphere with, obviously, people who are dedicated to their mission.
Mhm.
Is there any value to that? How does that affect the kids?
It's huge. It's absolutely, it's incomprehensibly gigantic, because you're right. There's no question that all of us are role models, and kids are always trying to figure out, I want to be like that, or I don't want to be like that, or, this and that, this and that. They always make those decisions, even if they're not conscious of it sometimes.
Right.
And so if they're in that kind of situation, or that kind of environment, I guess is a better way to put it, if they're in that kind of environment and they see people who have dedicated their lives to being world changers, that changes everything as far as their understanding of issues, right? And so, they'll understand this particular issue, but they may also understand other issues. And so then even if they don't go into a nonprofit in the future,
Right.
even if they say, you know what, I still want to go be something else. I want to, I want to pick on anybody and say they're not changing the world because
I've decided to be a pilot.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Right. And so they want to do that. They'll be better citizens, right? They'll be better citizens of their communities. They'll be better citizens of their cities, of their state, of
Right.
the United States, of the world. They'll be just better citizens and better voters, more informed voters, more informed members of the community. I think that we have a real dearth right now of caring in so many areas of our country, where people are just kind of like, you know what, none of this matters. I don't want to be part of this at all. Just leave me alone. Just let me just watch this and just leave me alone. But those people are becoming less and less. I think that the young people are really demanding, and they're demanding to make a difference, and to make a difference in their communities, make a difference in their state, and they really are stepping up. I mean, I know that there are people who say terrible things about this younger generation, and it makes me so angry, because what I see day to day, every single day, is that these kids want to make a difference, and
Absolutely.
they are willing to work so hard for it. And
Absolutely.
my kids come to me I call them kids, although many of them are adults, but they're all younger than most of them.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so they just want to suck out of me all of the possibilities for what they can do to be a great teacher, but also to be to make the world a better place. And I can't even express how much I admire this new generation of kids and students.
And I'm right there with you. They've got a tough hill to climb.
Yeah.
Our generation didn't do them any favors, and so it's up to them. And I'm so proud of them, and so excited to see the new crop that comes in every year. Every year, the videos, the kids just floor me. They just blow me away. And I've been doing this for years now, and I think, oh, that was good. And every year, it's just gets better.
And
the kids are so
technology
talented.
gets better, right? So that they have more tools, and then they know how to use them more, right? Like,
oh my gosh,
like, I know how to do this. You're like, what is that?
Yeah. Yeah. And the kids are fearless. They are absolutely, I'm not scared. I may mess up, but I'm not scared. And what I've found, when we engage them with these nonprofit organizations, some of them are a tough story to tell. The Rape Crisis Center. The Children's Shelter. Right. There are some hard stories to tell. And you're asking a 16-year-old to tell this story. They're born into the technology. Yes. So that means nothing. I can do this with my phone, but they're not afraid of the stories either. I'll take on the toughest story. What's the toughest story you got? I'll take it.
Yeah.
And then when we all come together at that premiere at the Tobin, you make a very good point that, okay, this school was engaged with an animal welfare organization. Mm-hmm. Great. Now we know everything there is to know about animal welfare. This organization was involved with the homeless. I didn't know about that. So now I'm seeing 40 nonprofit organizations, 39 of which I knew nothing about. Right. So again, it's that opportunity to not only learn a craft, learn a skill, learn a creative outlet, but it's a chance to learn about your community and find your place, find how you can be engaged. And there's plenty of room for everybody.
And I find it so fascinating, is that, I mean, learning, of course, is the thing that fascinates me. Like, that's right. Kind of my job, to be fascinated by learning. But, the fact is that, 16-year-old kids know a lot of things, but they don't know a lot of things, right?
And they don't know what they don't know.
And they don't know, right?
Right.
And so, but I find that that's true for 50-year-old guys.
Absolutely.
Too, right? You know, and so it's true. Like if you don't have an experience with something, you may not even have a place to put in your brain what that thing is.
Right.
Right? You may just be like, you know, you may look at the videos that might be done and go like, wait a minute, that's happening?
That's a thing?
And you have no
right.
idea that's happening. And it might change your entire outlook about a whole bunch of things because you didn't even know it was going on at
Right.
all, much less how to fix it or anything else. Or that there was somebody out there working on it, you know.
And that comes back to the kids learning, wait a minute, I didn't know this was going on. This can't be. I'm not going to sit back and let this happen.
Right. And then
so we expose them to 40 of those.
Yeah, it makes them a better citizen and makes them a better member of the community.
Dr. Boucher, thank you so much for your insight and for your time. I could keep you here for another hour, but I know you have things to do. And thank you so much. And I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you, Randy. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.